This is Southampton, an historical port which was split in 1950 to create two parliamentary seats, the smaller being Southampton Itchen. It is made up of 7 wards, from the residential areas of Bitton, Thornhill and Shoaling, the town centre and port in Bargate, to the seafront at Woolston. This seat has been a Labour stronghold for 23 years with John Denham at the helm. He is now under threat, however, from the Conservatives and UKIP. The relatively new face to politics, Rowena Davies, has got a lot of work to do if she's going to keep this seat. Around 75,000 people will be able to vote here in this year's elections, and there are 6 parties for them to choose from.
A lot of it is in the lap of the gods, really, but it is going to be interesting. It's going to be particularly interesting if you're an observer, but it's going to be somewhat stressful, I think, if you're a participant.
We've got a lot of things that need to be done in Itchen, so I think it needs to be a green vote to get all these things tackled and not hostile.
It's like nothing else. Like, I've had the opportunity to meet thousands of people and listen to their stories and their hopes and their fears.
Nevertheless, not everybody will want to vote for either of those parties. There will be a group of people who want to vote on principle, who've got particular values that they want to express at the ballot box, and it's only right that they should be able to do that.
Tusk up and down the country is providing a voice for people who want to see a real change in our society.
I can honestly say that with 65% of the Labour vote are hemorrhaging towards UKIP.
What can voters expect from these candidates on the key issues of this election?
If you look at what Ed Miliband's saying now about breaking up the big 6 banks and introducing proper regulation, I think that's very different from the current Tory administration, who have basically left it as the status quo. If you look at where our growth's coming from now, still the City of London, still built on financial services, still built on mortgages and debt. I think we've got to have growth that's different to that and better than that. And I think the difference between Labour and the Tories is Labour's learned from the mistakes and the Tories are just repeating them again.
If you look at the way the economy's going, if you look at people in work, if you look at the house building programme, if you look at the help to buy schemes and the lower stamp duty, the Conservatives have got the answers for the economy. And if you get the economy right, you can have strong public services. You can't have a strong NHS unless we have the money to pay for it. And the only way we have the money to pay for it is a strong economy with good tax receipts.
It's enshrined in law now. We have to give £13 billion away to foreign aid, and quite frankly, a lot of the countries don't want that money. Now, it's taken that in consideration, and there's over 1 million people now relying on food banks for food. You do the maths, if people look at it, they should be voting UKIP.
A minimum wage of £10 an hour, sorry, not 20 yet, by £10 an hour by 2020. And that'll be a big value to
British jobs for British people, that's not a bad thing. Local jobs for local people, that's not a bad aspiration. And if you give local people the opportunities, then 9 times out of 10 they will flourish.
Is that your main reason for being UKIP is the European referendum?
Yes, we need that referendum, and we cannot trust Cameron to say he's going to give it if he gets in. I mean, quite frankly, he lied last time, and why should we believe in this?
We don't want to sort of shut off from Europe. We want people to be able to move about, but we can't have a situation whereby we just get swamped by people coming in all the time. So we have to do something about it. And the question is what we do about it, and it's about dealing with the effects of a lot of immigration. It's things like making sure that when they come, if they're coming from Europe, perhaps they should be paid by Europe. We should receive the funding from Europe for provision of hospitals and facilities and schools and things like that. And things like the minimum wage would make sure, the minimum wage of £10 an hour would make sure that people didn't suffer in that area. And also we would give a basic income to everyone so that you could be guaranteed to have a reasonable income.
One is green policies and renewable energies, because I think, Southampton is on the Solent. It's ideally placed for wave and tidal energy. Or that's being developed at the moment, and it is actually being developed very strongly. It happens to be towards Bristol, up in Wales, off Swansea, up in the Shetlands and so on. But basically the technologies are being refined. They're also very close to home, really, the west coast of the Cherbourg Peninsula. There's lots of places where it's being installed, and they don't even have to be visible. They could be actually installed under the water, out of shipping lanes, so a very visually unintrusive but very effective, always on.
This hotly contested seat may once again be decided by very few votes. Emma Wright, Winchester News Online, Southampton Itchen.